Welcome back to Blue Collar Sports. Everyone we approached 3:45, so we got 15 minutes left today on today's show. Again, you are listening to Blue Collar Sports, a sports national talk show down here at Boise State University in the Pulse radio studio. I'm your co-host, Seth Noah, joined here with co-host Trevor Brenlin. It's been a great show so far today. Again, big shout out to Ryan Seeker. We appreciate you being on here. Killed it with lots of good hoops talk. And then, of course, the start of the second hour, we've talked lots of football, focused on NFL and the AAF as well, a little bit as well. So, interesting stuff going on. But again, we are Blue Collar Sports every 2 to 4 p.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah, absolutely. It's been a good show so far. Like you said, we talked some basketball, some football. And we kind of talked about some breaking news a little bit earlier. Just wanted to throw it out there for Ryan. But now let's get back to it, have more in-depth conversation about it. So, Seth, how about you cover the big-time news of today? Yeah, breaking news broke out this morning. We were at work when it came out, but reports, again, we talked about on the show with this long process of Manny Machado and Bryce Harper trying to find a place to stay. Spring training is here. The teams are practicing, players are reporting, and there are still no deals until this morning. Manny Machado, who spent half the season last year with the Los Angeles Dodgers, played in the World Series, is now a member of the San Diego Padres on a record-breaking deal, 10 years, $300 million. Pretty remarkable. I know there's a lot of opinions out there about this deal. But what are your big takeaways, the winners and losers? Yeah, first big takeaway is that this is the largest contract in American sports history. Yeah. $300 million for 10 years, remarkable. Pretty incredible. I believe it's going to be. Thought it would be Manny Machado. I believe it's going to be $30 million a year. This is what I was been hearing. They were actually, the Padres weren't even expecting this. They didn't have the deal ready to go, but Manny's team, I guess, announced it, and so they didn't have all the physicals and tests set up and ready to go. So it came as a surprise to everybody, even the team that got him, the Padres. So they got to figure that all out. But I think it sounded like they will do record-breaking move. And before I get to Bryce Harper, I do like the move in that I'm not a big Manny Machado fan. I do like the Padres. I think it's more fun because I think it's, like you said, their stadium. I love Petco Park. I've been to a game there. I like their jerseys. I like their navy blue jerseys. So I like the feel of the San Diego Padres. But giving Manny Machado $300 million, for me, that's pretty remarkable. I don't know if he's going to play short or third for San Diego right now, but do you think he's the best shortstop or the best third baseman in the game right now? Because I think he is. I would give him this kind of money. I think that's how good of a player he is. I remember him coming into the draft with Mike Trout and Bryce Harper. He was always the third tier from both of them. But in the first couple of years, he really showed himself out as probably just as good, or right now, just as good or better. I love his. I mean, the talent is there. Of course, I mean, you've got like a talent though. His swing is one of the prettiest in baseball. He can do everything. He's a great fielder. But what really struck a nerve with me was the playoffs with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He had a couple plays where it didn't seem like he cares. He even came out and said he's not a guy that's going to hustle for you, which that's red flag number one. I know baseball's not a sport where you got to grind the whole way. You gotta always be going hard. It's kind of a slower sport, but still, I mean, when the plays matter, come down postseason time. I want a guy that's willing to sacrifice everything, and I don't see Manny Machado as that player. So for him to get this deal, I mean, I look at the World Series last year with the Dodgers, the Red Sox. I don't think he's a top 5 player in that series. I think really? I got Mookie Betts in front of him. I think you could put maybe Xander Bogaerts in front of him, Chris Sale. I mean, that's 3 guys just. He's from the best. He was the best Dodger player, I thought. He had a decent series, so he may have been the best Dodger player in that series. But I mean, I knew Dodgers weren't going to bring back Cal Seager or Corey Seager comes back, Cal's brother. He comes back, and so I think he might have been the best player for the Dodgers in that series. But I don't see him as a guy that's going to turn a franchise. I don't see him either as a guy that people are going to be, Machado's in San Diego, let's go play with him now. I don't think superstars are going to say, hey, let's go team up with Machado. I don't know if he's the type of guy that will draw in people like that. I know baseball is there's so many players and so much is involved that players don't often look at that. But it doesn't make sense for me in that I am happy by this move because I do want the Padres to get relevant again, and I hope it does work out. But it definitely surprised me how much money he got.
Yeah, for me, it doesn't surprise me. I think Machado's the top 5 player in baseball. I do believe that.
Oh, really?
In baseball, he's top 5, yes.
Interesting.
So it doesn't surprise me that he got this kind of money. And for the Padres, I think it's a great move. You know, if they have this kind of money, let's go out and get a star who we know we're not the best team, but we have to get better, and this is a move to get better. And so they bring a nice player, Machado, who you already got nice players, and Eric Hosmer. I really like Will Myers.
Yeah.
They got a decent lineup.
Brought in Ian Kinsler.
And so we know they're not going to possibly be the best team in even in their division, but you're going to bring fans to that stadium, which you haven't really had in a long time, and they really need to get fans to keep coming to San Diego Padre games. And Machado's going to do that, I believe. He brings fans to games. He's an exciting player to watch.
Yeah.
He's edgy. He probably, since you don't like him, some people call him maybe a little dirty. Maybe he doesn't hustle every time, but he brings a little bit of a show to baseball, kind of like a Bryce Harper. And so I think it does fit well with the Padres. They need someone like this, and I think Machado will fill the seats, and I think he is worth $300 million for the Padres.
Yeah, you know, he will fill seats. He will sell jerseys. I think he'll make you money in that way. But I'm not gonna go on and say he's a top 5 player in the MLB. I don't know.
I think he is for me.
I got Mookie Betts. I think
Mookie.
Mookie's number 2 right now. Mike Trout's number 1. But I got Trout. I got Mookie. Jose Altuve. I think Christian Yelich. I'd put him from. I think he entered the conversation.
Yelich, really.
I think Chris Davis is up there. I think you can look at Joey Votto.
Yeah, Chris Davis,
Joey
Votto.
I think there's a lot of guys in the conversation.
You didn't even say Bryce Harper either.
Goldschmidt.
Okay.
I'm not. I think Manny Machado and Bryce Harper are a very similar situation. I'm not big on Bryce Harper. I think Chris Bryant, when he's healthy, you could put up there. He strikes out too much, so I'm not big on Chris Bryant. And I mean, this is just hitters. I'm not big. I'm on just hitters. Pitching's obviously a whole different story. But you could look at JD Martinez in Boston as well. He had a huge year. I'm not willing to say. And so for him to get a record-setting deal, I think a big winner here is Bryce Harper. Okay. Because I think the rest of the market has to know. I mean, I don't think he's that much better than Manny Machado, but I think he's regarded as more important than Manny Machado. I think when both these guys hit the market, everyone figured Bryce Harper's the better option.
I include that, yeah.
He's number 1. So now you look at this deal and you think, I don't know if a guy could get more money I don't know if Manny Machado could get more money than Bryce Harper. So he has the record for right now, but I think Bryce Harper in the next couple of days could beat that record.
Yeah, and where do you see the money being around, and what team do you think is going to be willing to give that up for Bryce Harper? Because we saw the Padres possibly interested in Bryce also.
Right.
Probably unlikely they could sign him now since they gave Machado $300 million. But where do you think Harper is going to do now as Machado just made the first move?
Yeah, see that's a very interesting discussion. I think if I'm the Padres, they still have some money. They weren't spending a lot of money, so they do still have some money to work with. I would go after pitching. Yeah. They have no pitching. There's still some good pitchers. Dallas Keuchel is, I think, the first name I'll go look at right now.
Dang, yeah.
Go get an ace because he's still in the market. I don't think they need hitting. Like I said, they got Hosmer there, Will Myers. They got a good core in hitting. I would go after pitching. That's what they're lacking. And I've been saying all along, I think the favorite have been the Phillies. Mm-hmm. But like we talked about earlier, if there's a chance at Mike Trout in a year or two, because we know he's from Philadelphia, the Phillies, I think they could still contend this year. They're good enough. They're young. They showed it last year. They could contend this year without Bryce Harper. Mm. I think you wait it out and go save all that massive contract for when Mike Trout hits the market. We know he's a Philadelphia guy. So I think that makes a lot of sense. But then after that, I mean, I don't know. None of these teams have really made pitches to Bryce Harper. Mm-hmm. I think the most realistic situation would be going back to D.C. and playing for the Nationals.
Right. I think I'm right there with you. I do think the Phillies would be the number 1 landing spot, but it's hard during the tough situation. They probably think they could get Mike Trout, but you don't want to wait. And what if the Angels come out with a big offer and they're able to re-sign him? Then you're messed up. Yeah. And so I think if Phillies, if they have the chance, they're going to sign Bryce probably around a $325 to $350 million.
On a 10-year deal?
Probably a 10-year deal, just the same as Manny's, with a little bit more money. And if it's not the Phillies, though, I really just see him going back to Washington and being a National. And that money will probably be around $300, just like Manny's. Maybe $305, maybe $310, a little bit more than that. And I believe he turned down an even bigger contract than that earlier this year from Washington. So he might be losing money since he's been going through all of this. But I do think it's coming down to Phillies and the Washington Nationals.
And I think the White Sox are still in the conversation. They were a team that were in the conversation for a while. But I think they're very similar to the Padres. That they don't have a lot, but they got a lot of money to work with, and they need to sell seeds, and that would certainly sell a lot of seeds. So that would be an interesting move. But if the Phillies don't give it to him, I don't know. I mean, if I'm Bryce Harper, I know he's looking for a long-term deal, but I don't know if I'd want to sign a long-term deal right now if it's not someone I know I want to be with long-term.
Yeah.
I think Phillies make a lot of sense, but if they don't want you long-term, then if he were to go back to DC, I would be shocked to see him sign like a 10-year deal, because that's basically the rest of his career. Yeah. And he kind of showed all year that he's kind of done with Washington DC, and so I think it's very interesting to see what kind of contract he'll get.
Baseball's a little different where I don't know if I really want long-term deals, because you're not going to get injured like you do in football or some other these sports. I think in baseball, I'd much rather do short-term deals, 2-3 years, do your time at one team, and if you don't like it, go somewhere else. Mike Trout is stuck with the Angels right now. I know it's still maybe it's his rookie deal, but he's stuck in a situation that I know he probably wants to contend, absolutely, and he can't do that right now with the Angels. So if he had the option just with another year or two to get out of there, sign a short-term deal, and see where that franchise is at that situation, I think that sets up these players for giving them more leverage like they do in the NBA nowadays.
Right.
And I think that really brings more to MLB players.
Yeah, it's pretty weird to me that they do have these insanely long-term deals. I mean, you don't see that really in any other sport.
No.
I mean, Juan Carlos Stanton a couple years ago signed that 13-year deal.
Right. And
it's remarkable. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but we saw another one today and a record-setting one in Manny Machado.
And it won't be the last, because Bryce Harper will announce probably in the next day or so. I would not be surprised.
I think so. I mean, do you think there's any possibility he doesn't play this year?
I can't see a Le'Veon Bell situation. I just can't do that because I think his market will just keep going down. You won't know what kind of shape he's in, and you don't know how much he really wants to go play. So I think he will sign within the next week, and he'll be there before the start of the season.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, he's got to pick it soon. I mean, like I said, spring training. I know the M's play their first game Thursday. So spring training here, teams are practicing and people are reporting. So it's going to be interesting to see what Bryce Harper does. That's definitely something to keep your eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's your big news for today. Manny Machado signs with the Padres, 10 years, $300 million.
Yeah, well, big time news, record-setting day in sports, but it could be broken in the next day or two. So we'll have more on that on Thursday. But we are approaching 4 o'clock. We got 2 minutes left, so we are going to start to wrap it up. Again, I didn't really get to talk a whole lot about, but hats off to J.B. Holmes winning the Genesis Open, kick off the golf season this week. Justin Thomas had it, but he blew a Tiger up there for a little bit. So good to see that. But hats off to him, and it was a great show today.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a lot of fun, a lot of NBA talk, NFL, some breaking news in baseball. So without the NFL season kind of right here, it's kind of harder to find the topics, but I think a lot of the stuff came on to us today, and it really made for a good show.
Yeah, another big hats off to Ryan. We appreciate you stopping by and talking hoops with us for the first hour of today's show. That was a pleasure. Again, if you want to reach out to us, you could be on the show as well. Reach out any way you can. We got a Twitter, we got an Instagram, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow us at Blue Collar Sports on Twitter, Instagram, and follow us on YouTube. Watch our past shows and Periscope, and you could reach out to us and be on our show any way you want. So participate in our polls, reach out to Blue Collar Sports, and just grow the name.
We'll see you right back here Thursday from 2 to 4. I'm Seth, that's Trevor. We're out. You've been watching Blue Collar Sports.
Later.